Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back to the show. It's been about a week and a half since I've recorded. Sorry, life got in the way. And the fun thing is we're here now. And I have a really fun special guest. Kelsey is here today. Hey, Kelsey.
Hi,
How are you?
I am wonderful.
I'm thrilled that you're here.
I think this is a long time coming.
Well, I was sitting there and, I heard this tap, tap, tap on the door. Lo and behold, it's Kelsey. So I've decided your new nickname is going to be Tap, Tap, Tap.
All right, tap, tap, tap it is.
You know what that stands for?
What does that stand for?
Tiny ass person.
You know what? That fits. We'll take it. We'll run.
Have you hit 5 foot yet?
I think I hit it last night.
Okay.
No.
Well, you might be 5 foot, but I wouldn't want to piss you off. So
It's the small ones you got to worry about.
yeah, and they're a little crazy too.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for being on the show. This is fun. So I don't even know the answer to this 100%, but do you listen to the show? Have you listened? I think you've listened to some of it. I don't know if you listened to a lot of it. But
I do. So I listen how my life goes, just spotty. Yeah, I do listen.
yeah, cool. So I was on a podcast a few minutes ago called Paranormal People in the United Kingdom. So they had me on as a guest. That was super fun.
Oh, gosh.
And yeah, I've got, I don't know, there's 6 or 7 other podcasts that have me scheduled over the next couple months. I'm looking forward to that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, some of these podcasts are like really popular too. I mean, they're all super popular and they're fantastic. It's just a great podcast. I mean, he asked wonderful questions. It was fun. So I enjoyed that. And yeah.
What do you think the biggest driver on getting on these podcasts is for you?
Oh, they all say the same thing. I'm shockingly good looking.
You know,
Yes.
that you asked earlier if I listen to your podcast. That is the one thing you say every time.
I know, right? I mean, and it's an audio podcast. I'm like, how do you even know? He said, no, I just know.
The people just have to take your word for it.
Yeah. So, I reached out to him trying to get the word out. The weird thing is the podcast has this whole paranormal experience in the beginning, the spiritual awakening. So, I feel like that part needs to be told. So these are paranormal websites that have invited me on, and I send them a little blip of what some of the experience was, and they're intrigued, and they've all been very, very kind to me. So we've done that. I am working on reaching out to other podcasts that are talk about what we talk about now, spirituality and learning how to love ourselves. And, that there's a version of you that we haven't met yet. And through this, hopefully through this podcast, you get to find that person. And we have been talking about my brother, Dennis. His 1-year anniversary of his death is on Father's Day, which is Sunday, right? Yeah. So that's been a lot to process. And I've been disconnected to most of my family for a very long time. And I received a message from my niece that I haven't talked to Steph in, I don't know, a very long time. And she had the audacity to reach out and tell me she loves me. And I appreciate it. She's always been special to me. I don't know if she knows that or not, but she's cool. And she said, hey, I want to talk to you, Uncle Wes. And I was nervous. I'm like, all right. And I thought about it. I'm like, I mean, she's not going to call me to have coffee just to bitch at me. So I'm like, all right. And she's funny. We're sitting there as me and the dog and her. And she said, are you nervous? I'm like, yeah, a little. I mean, I haven't talked to you in a long time. And I had this narrative that wasn't an opportunity. And it's funny. I don't even know how that got there. You kind of just life happens or whatever. And she says, I want to tell you about what I think about your podcast. I found your podcast and I wasn't expecting that. And I find it still funny when people say, I listen to your podcast. I'm like, oh, you do? Because there's an aspect of me that doesn't think that I'm worthy, right? And she said, Uncle Dennis didn't come around a lot. And I hope Steph, I know you're listening. I hope I'm saying this properly. But she said he didn't come around a lot, but he was present when he did. And he says, Uncle Wes, you're not present. You don't know me and you don't know my kids. And that broke my heart. So I'm going to see her soon. We got the family vacation thing coming up in the Outer Banks that I always avoid and don't go to. So I am going to go
I think you should.
and participate. So Sydney and Abraham, father of many nations, as her fiance. I think I aggravate the fuck out of him, but I enjoy doing it. So I'm going to take them down there. And I had a good conversation with Stephanie, and I was talking about reconnecting the family, and it never occurred to me to sit there and say there's other parts of the family that I've not tried to connect with. I guess in my mind, I felt like that wasn't an opportunity. And she said, why would you think that? And I'm like, I don't know. But I'm glad she had the courage to do something that I did not. So thank you.
And if she had never said anything, how long, like, it's amazing to think that you could have gone so many more years. So now you have the gift to really create and get to be with your family. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. And it's the one thing I've wanted is to have family. And I've got family here that I didn't think I had an opportunity with. Her dad and we had a little bit of a falling out in the past. So it's that. But I love my brother. And I guess we just love each other from a distance these days. But I told her, I said, you want to hear the funniest story about me and her dad? And we used to be best friends. I'll tell it real quick. It's funny. We went to West Virginia. This young lady said that I had a baby with her, and I was going up there to see this little girl. And long story short, she ended up not being my daughter. That was painful. But my brother loved me so fucking much. He rode with me to West Virginia to do those things so I didn't have to do it by myself. He took care of me, and I miss that. I miss that with him. And we're bike riding, right? And we go on this mountain pass. Well, we didn't see the sign that said it was closed. We're fucking pedaling along, and the path is getting like down to like 4 and 5 inches wide. And he falls off. He falls off the little cliff. Lands on his back on this big ass boulder. He looked like a giant cockroach wrapped around his bicycle. He was so fucking fucked up. He smokes, so he's like trying to breathe. And we get back out on the main road, and some country guy from West Virginia comes up. Oh, y'all are out there? That thing's been closed for years. I'm like, really? Well, if you hear that, that is the United States Navy flying over. And we had like 3 miles to ride back, and his bike was broken in like 4th gear. So his fat ass was sitting there stroking out. It was the funniest thing. I laughed about that so much. He was he was bleeding everywhere. His bike was broken. And
He said, not wild and wonderful, West Virginia.
It was pretty funny. So, yeah, I enjoyed telling her that. And she's like, I miss hearing the stories, and it's just sad with you guys. And she's right.
But you have so much more time. Why not create more memories when you can?
Yeah. So I'm going to show up. This last week or so has been really, really busy for me. I'm going to hit her up probably tomorrow, the next day. And I want to meet her kids. The honest answer is, if I seen them on the street, I wouldn't know who they are. Let's just call it what it is. And I miss Steph, and I like her husband, and he's really cool. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun.
No matter how fucked up family dynamics can be, it is such a gift to be able to be present and get even the chance. Some people don't even have that chance to connect with their families. So
Yeah.
I think it's such a gift.
Yeah. So there's the Navy flying over again. They normally don't fly like that over my house. So I don't know. Usually if they do, the Blue Angels are coming, or there's a certain wind, which we don't have today. So we're probably training for a little extra combat right now.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about this. Do you mess with ChatGPT?
Do I? Yes.
Mhm.
No, I have seen a lot on ChatGPT. And I think I told you the other day
Mm-hmm.
about that reel I saw of Jelly Roll's wife, Bunny, saying that, like, basically on ChatGPT, she asked about her soul contract, and she thinks it's demonic. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, do I have
Sure.
it downloaded on my phone? No.
hmm
Am I opposed to it? Also, no. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Well, I asked it after you said that to tell me who my dad was. Girl, that thing was so fucking accurate.
read you to filth.
Yeah.
It will read you to filth.
I mean, it talked about how his inability to communicate his feelings, that I'm here to break generational curses of that, in our family, the men don't talk. And you go back a little bit further in our family, there was a lot of incest, there was a lot of abuse, and breaking those chains and creating generational blessings. And I'm watching Stephanie and my other nieces and nephews. Whether they know it or not, they're breaking those chains, because I can see that with the changing behaviors. And I don't know how that system can do those kind of readings or whatever, because I asked it, I said, how can you connect if you're not alive, if you're a machine? How can you be authentic? And it said, you're right, I'm not authentic. I'm not human. I am a machine. It basically said the questions that I have previously asked about different things, it basically came up with that answer based off of my questions on other projects, which I think is crazy because I've never talked about my dad. And yeah, I mean, I don't ask ChatGPT about my dad. I don't do those things. I never thought about it, but I think it's crazy. The AI technology is just really, really bizarre.
No, I know. And like how, even just asking it, like, tell me about my dad. And then it goes down characteristics. It's like, how would it have drawn that just from you asking, even?
Yeah. And it wasn't something like, oh my gosh, I see you're sad. Well, no fucking shit. I wouldn't be asking you if I'm happy, right? You see that scam with some healers that, and just because somebody has a certification or says that they're a healer doesn't mean they're a healer. And you'll see, I'll see that with readings, or like in the TV shows where they go to the psychic lady and she's like, oh my gosh, I see death and somebody's going to die. Anybody says that, I don't think it's doing justice. You don't instill fear. The number one rule is a healer does no harm, and that's just control and manipulation. But it didn't have any of that standard junk. And I don't know, it was eerily accurate. And then when it responds back to you, it's just, I mean, hell, I have better conversations with ChatGPT than I do most people.
Oh my gosh. See, that's the problem. Everyone needs to go out and touch some grass.
Yeah, right, touch some grass.
Do some hippie shit.
Yeah, do the hippie shit. But it's cool. So I have been looking at different ways to like do my healing business and stuff. And the funniest thing it said to me, I don't know if I told you this or not, but it said, Wes, now is the time for you to create your own healing modality. I'm like, why would it say that? I mean, how does it think about that stuff? And I've been thinking about that and praying on it. And guess what I'm working on creating?
What?
My own healing modality.
Oh, tell me about it.
I don't know the name yet, or we're running it through legal to see if it's trademarked. I connect and heal people with angels. Basically, I am taking the things that Jesus and the angels have shown me how to heal people, and I'm going to put that in a course program and teach people how to call in angels and work with angels to heal people and do that stuff. I had a vision Jesus showed me on a stage, and there was all these people in the audience, and there was these children that were clearly there for cancer, and they're nurses, and there was homeless people, and there's other people. And I remember looking over, and he just had this look on his face. And when I turn around, I seen angels with every single person. Everybody gets 3 for some reason. And from that point forward, I'm like, okay, I can do that. I know how to do that. And I just do. I can place angels with people. And the fun thing is like 90% of my clients say, I feel the angels touch me when you do that. And I'm like, that's cool.
See, when I feel connected to my angels, it's not something that I can see. It's something that, like a brush, like you feel it, and like almost like a light that you feel around you.
Yeah, a lot of people will say that they feel like there's a fan blowing on their face. They're on the healing table, which is, if you've not been on a healing table, is a massage table. So, they're hanging out, and I sit down because they don't want me at the table. I always tease, they're like emergency room nurses, like, get out of the way, dude. sometimes when I work in rooms that are a little bit smaller and there's not anywhere to move, I go in the hallway until they say I can come back. Nothing like an angel telling you to kick rocks in your own house.
Right.
Tell me about your healing journey. You're doing some things right now, right?
Yes, I
Mhm.
am. So, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you
Mhm.
for gifting me my first set of sound bowls.
You're welcome.
That is something that I didn't even know was my gift
Mhm.
until we talked about it. And I've just done a deep dive in that. And it's something that I have participated in the past. But now that I'm finally kind of playing around and discovering my gifts and letting them kind of unfold,
Nice.
I don't know what other to say other than I'm just trust falling into the universe.
Well, I knew that with you almost out of the gate. And
Really?
yeah. And so, I bought myself some healing bowls a while ago, and I just never really felt connected to it. It's just something I don't do. I just knew when I asked, they said I'm supposed to give it to you. So Lakota says a true healer does not buy their tools; they're gifted, and so that's why I gifted you those healing bowls. And so tell everybody about you'd said something where you were doing something on the dock with them.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
tell us about that?
Listen, I just play around. So basically, I live on the river and I just set them all up and I just felt called to create affirmations for each chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Literally I just thought of it that day.
Cool.
Again, nothing planned. It was just kind of spontaneous, but just sitting there playing the bowls and just being present.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, my mind can sometimes go and go and go, chakra there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I play the sound bowls, it's actually the first time that silence is,
Yeah.
and that I feel really, really connected to God and myself and my own inner wisdom, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just super beautiful. And so,
What you're creating with that is you're creating your training program to teach people how to do that. As you're talking about it, they're showing it to me of you teaching that course on how to do the sound bowl healing and putting the affirmations with it. I've not heard that before. But didn't you say you had some experience with the wildlife while you're there?
I did. Yes. No,
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there and a family of 4 ducks, I'm not even kidding, just plopped right there and listened the whole time. I had fish flopping out of the ground. When have you seen fish flop out of the water? Not out of the
Right?
ground, sorry, that would be
Yeah.
impossible, but the water, like 5 feet up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm calling my dad. I'm FaceTiming. I'm like, look at this shit. Look at that fish.
That's funny.
And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm playing my sound bowls for them. And he's like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Hey, when he starts shaking your ass fishing, you're like, hey, click on that damn bowl, girl. I'm catching me a bass.
He said you discovered a new way to catch a fat one, though.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. The fish are going like tap, tap, tap. I'm right here. Yeah. You got your
Yeah.
calling card, isn't it?
I think I found my gift.
Mm-hmm. So everybody, when they see Kelsey, they'll be like, hey, tap, tap, tap.
Do not do, if you're listening to this and you know me, do not do that.
Tap, tap, tap. Yeah. That's cool. So now, you said you're going to take a training class with, who are you taking it with?
Yeah, so I need to sign up. I have not signed up yet. I need to get on that. But Casey Lane,
Mhm.
I actually attended one of her sound healings in Norfolk about a month ago.
Nice.
Time doesn't exist. I don't even know when. But we chatted and connected, and she's so gifted. And she does her training programs. And so she'll come to Virginia Beach however often, and she'll run those. And so I'm really eager to learn from her.
Cool. You'll have to connect me with her. I don't know her.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to have her on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're already giving her free props. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't know her, but I've heard her name and good standing several times.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
I'm excited to learn.
Uh-huh. So I guess, I mean, now with that certification, is that like a 1-day class, a 3-day class, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so I don't know. Again, I have not signed up yet, so I don't know all the odds and outs. But from what I can gather, it's like a 2-day two full days in August.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll learn like music theory and the notes and kind of just more of the logistics behind it. Because right now I'm just out there singing them. I don't have that.
Sure. Now, is there an aspect of that where you use your voice?
I don't know if I will learn that. I know she did when I attended her sound healing.
That's cool.
And it's beautiful.
Can you sing?
I sound a little bit like a broken record, but I do
Yeah.
sing in the shower.
Well, that's you talking is a broken record, but
Yeah, fuck you.
there we go. Hey, the abuse is now permanently on your permanent record,
Oh, well,
like
you
they
know
say
what?
on the violent films.
I'll say it with my chest.
Well, my life isn't complete unless Kelsey says, fuck you, Wes.
It's our secret language.
It is. It is. That's funny. So I think that's cool. So what are you going to do from there?
That's what I haven't figured out. I mentioned earlier that I was trust falling into the universe, and I really meant that.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue. I just know that by me living in my truth and being authentic and doing what I feel called to do each day, that the rest will just appear. It always has.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
And I'm just going to trust it.
Well, I seen this video the other day. I don't know, it was maybe a couple months ago, and they were talking about vibration, and they were saying how high unconditional love is, but being authentic is like 40 times higher. So it's significant. And I'm like, imagine if you can be authentic with your unconditional love, right?
That's, yeah.
Yeah. So I got bombarded by a quote unquote healer this morning who called and wanted to berate me over politics. And I don't talk politics, and we're not going to do that on the show. And, at the end, she goes, well, I'm just being love and light. And I'm like, well, are you? Because there's a whole lot of judgment, frustration, anger. And, when you're sitting there being authentic and you're on this journey, this healing journey, especially if you're a healer, I don't think you get that opportunity well, I know you don't get that opportunity to speak that into existence and then turn around and say, oh, it's love and light. It's not. Either you are or you aren't. And we're all human too. Our word is so powerful. And there's a lot going on with our country right now. And there's a lot going on with other things. But the energy has been crazy, at least for me lately. I don't know if I'm leveling up, but I've been seeing in other realms and stuff so much more lately. I'm just like, every time I turn around, I'm seeing something moving, or there's a dead person. I'm like, fuck.
It's hard to turn that down.
Do you see dead people?
I do not. I do not yet. I hope. I don't know. I think that's turned off for me, but
Yeah. Not everybody is. I mean, it is what it is.
I'll tell you what, though. I think healer, like something hearing you talk about that, even the word, like healer, I think it comes with so many different connotations from people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reality of it is a true healer is someone who inspires other people to heal themselves.
Yeah.
It's like you can do the work, you can teach, you can lead, but how can you give back to the person sitting in front of you or post something online that's going to help someone else? I think that's a true healer.
Yeah, it is. You don't have to go out and heal other people to be a healer. You could be that beacon of light, and you're doing the deep work. You're working hard, and you're changing. And your babies see mom or dad get better. That's the biggest blessing you can give, right? As I just said that, my hand just like is on fire. That Reiki energy, and something I haven't talked about, and I like to be transparent on the show, and I make mistakes and do stupid shit sometimes and try to at least call myself out on it. And I did not end up participating, but they spread my brother's ashes a few weeks back, and I was going to go, and I wanted to go. In that week, I was just getting so angry. I was just furious throughout the week, and it takes a lot to get me pissed off these days, right? I mean, I could be a little crabby sometimes, but I mean, this was a level that I was at before I started my healing journey. It was bad. And I didn't understand what it was. And I'm sitting there, and I love Dennis, and I love my other brother and my family. I do, even though I don't see them, I cherish them. And the reality is, had I not said anything, that event was going to happen without me being told. And that bothered me. And reaching out to certain people, asking questions, and a week goes by and nobody responds. And so when I was looking at it with the things I'm healing from, the unworthiness, the feeling alone or whatever, and when I got separated and divorced. My kids moved to Florida with my ex-wife. And so that whole aspect of your children are now of age and they're going to come hang out at the house and having them in my life, I don't, because they're not here. And I've only talked to my son twice in 13 years, and not my doing, but it's his. And then Sydney, we don't talk very much or don't see each other. So, that's been a lot for me. And so as I'm looking at this event, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go there and spread the ashes of somebody I adore, but I don't really know. I mean, we just didn't have that relationship, and that's okay. I'm not upset about it. It's just what it is. And I know Dennis is this beautiful person, and he's just amazing. And there's a part of me that's angry that we didn't have that, but I'm part of that solution, or that mathematical equation of not being together. I was part of that, and it wasn't all him. And then, there was going to be family members there with my last name that I don't know, that clearly didn't want me to be there because there's not any correspondence going back and forth. And so I'm like, okay, if I go, I'm going to be sitting in a hotel room by myself, waiting for this stuff to happen. And they're all going to be hanging out, and it's going to mess with me. It's going to mess with me at a deep level. And then I found out at the last minute, there was these Friday activities that I wasn't told about. And I'm like, okay. And so, like, the night before I was supposed to go, I woke up at 3:00 in the morning, or while I was tossing and turning, actually, I said, I'm not going. I'm simply not going. I am going to choose Wes today. And for me, what that was choosing me, because I knew I had so much expectation on it being bad or whatever it was. There's so much expectation. I just knew it wasn't a safe space for me mentally. And the second I said I wasn't going to go, I laid down and went right to sleep. So I knew I made the best decision. And then I took Abby to the beach that morning, and I had been wondering, Dennis hasn't come to me in spirit. I can talk to dead people. I can see dead people. And Dennis walked down the boardwalk with me for an hour. You know, I mean, it was like I could feel the entire beach fill with his energy. And we had a fluid conversation. And it was the most beautiful gift I could have ever received. And I don't think I would have gotten that gift if I had gone, right? Because I wouldn't have been able, if you want your gifts to open, you go in this neutral position, you start to daydream a little bit, and that's when things turn on. So you'd think you would focus, but it's not. You just kind of let go. And I was able to let go. I went down there and I was crying, and I prayed because I just missed my brother. And one of the damnedest things Steph told me when we talked is Dennis knew he was dying. And I didn't know that. And he had these beautiful conversations with all these people in the family and his friends, and everybody had one except for me. So I like to think that when I would have shown up, because I was taking Sydney. I wasn't going to stay, but that we would have talked, but I got my conversation on the beach. That turned out to be such a big blessing for me. And I love Dennis. I miss him so much.
You asked me if I saw dead people, and as you were telling that story, I'm not even kidding, a cardinal, a red cardinal, was right here in the tree.
Yeah.
Dennis says hi.
Hey, Dennis, I miss you, buddy. But, it's interesting. I mean, this show is Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. And, your spiritual path is a nomadic path. You can have the best partner in the world, but you're still doing the work yourself, even though he or she may be right there. And you don't know what your enlightenment is going to look like. And somebody asked me today, so there's so many questions, so much depth to that name. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
And my ass is like burning in this chair because hearing you talk, one thing that really stood out to me. No, I'm serious, but people, okay, y'all need to listen to this part. Yeah. You said when you chose not to go, you were able to get quiet enough to hear him. And I think that we get so locked into the story the
Yeah.
story of the trauma that happened in the past, the failed relationships, the hurt between people, the 9 to 5 working, and just you get wrapped up in the story of it all
Yeah.
that you don't stop for a minute to breathe and to
hmm
feel in your body to say, what is this that I'm feeling? Where do I feel this? How can I hear that whisper or that answer that I'm looking for? And I think it's in the silence and the stillness.
Yeah. Well,
But most people don't want to get uncomfortable
mm-mm.
to feel that.
No, they don't, I've gotten I'm probably too comfortable being by myself, kind of a hermit, but the podcast I was on just a few minutes ago was, I forget the exact question, from me being brought to see Jesus being crucified, to all those things I've shared and we've gone through. He says, what is the biggest blessing part, right? And it could easily be seen, it could easily speak.
Words are hard sometimes, Wes.
I know, right?
That cardinal's still flying around.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted to know what the biggest takeaway, the biggest blessing was. And I told him, I said, well, if you sit there and they say, if God is your father, then part of God is inside of you. In my whole life, I think a lot of us have done this, is I would look to anybody and everybody for answers to questions. And it's like going to the plumber to say, hey, how do you fucking bake a cake, right? And because the person you're asking the question to is significantly unhealthy, they're not healed. It's not that they're a bad person, but they're not fucking healed. He's married, he's got 2 kids, doing fucking drugs and dating somebody on the side. I'm not going to ask him marital questions. But I told him, I said, when I came to the realization that everything is a direct reflection of myself. So if I'm dating somebody who throws me in the trash easily, where do I throw myself in the trash easily? Because if I want to heal that, I heal me. I'm not going to heal them. And those people start to go away. That when the cheat code to life really is going internal, taking responsibility for everything that happens in my life. I was somewhere the other day and it was yesterday. I was calling Verizon and the lady on Verizon was a jerk. I'm just like, I ended up just hanging up on her and called back. But before I called back, I grounded myself and prayed. And I'm like, all right, clearly she's agitated and frustrated. Where am I agitated and frustrated? And I was. And so I cleared that and I called. And the next person was so nice. I mean, went out of his way. But taking it to that depth of healing of, I could easily say, oh, she was just a jerk having a bad day, but no, there was an aspect of me there, or she would not have been on that phone. She is showing me with a blessing that, Wes, you've got something unhealed going on right now, and you need to shift that energy. And I am grateful for that. I am grateful for that self-reflection and that. And I was thinking, I said, I know I'm a smart ass on the show saying I'm shockingly good looking and all that stupid shit, but it's just me being silly because I think it's funny. But the reality is, if you look at my podcast, I don't have my picture on there because I don't like the way I look, right? I got my dog on there. So, healing those parts have been a blessing. One of the things I'm looking at now is to find somebody to take some pictures, because I'm going to put my picture on my podcast, and because I'm healing that aspect of me. And I'm still going to say I'm fucking shockingly good looking because I'm a smart ass and I think it's fun. But I don't know. And I was thinking more about the podcast. I'm like, I love this podcast. And this is a blessing that Andrea put in front of me. And, it's been hard. It's been challenging. And my soul is on the table. And one of the things that Stephanie said, she said, I came across your podcast and I listened to it because I wanted to know who the fuck you are. And I thought that was beautiful. You like who I am. I really do.
I hope you like who you are.
Yeah, I like myself these days. It's taken me a minute to get here. It's a little bit, it's kind of, I try not to get frustrated with it because I'm 55 right now, right? And now I'm shockingly good looking and I don't fucking look 55.
Here we go. There it is. There it is.
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah.
I see some friends of mine on Facebook. I'm like, dude, y'all need to put down the fucking coke or something. Whatever y'all got going on, y'all look like shit.
Not the judgments,
No, it's
Wes.
not. It ain't judgment. I'm just saying, you look 70 and I don't. But
See, but hey, two things can coexist because you're like, I don't want to put my picture up.
yeah, right.
But
Yeah, but and I mean, how old are you?
I'm 28. I had to think about that.
You're 28. You're young enough to be my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Don't be calling me daddy. All right.
Noted.
Yeah.
I'll write that one down.
All right. You know I'm leaving that in, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have to say one thing, Belle. Stop laughing. I'm serious.
Okay, go ahead.
So, one thing, and I don't know that I've ever told you this, is we talk about healing. We talk about, you just said it's hard for you and it's taken so long. But I'm grateful that you've chosen to walk this path, because when I went to space to go to your Native American stone healing class, I was at a space where I'd recently gotten out of a relationship, and it was how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had lost so much faith in men,
Yeah.
because I have never, in my 28 years of living, met a man that is willing to look at themselves and hold that mirror up and say, where am I hurt? Where am I broken? And no matter how ugly it is, I'm going to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think that we truly met for a reason, because when I saw somebody who embodies that and can lead that life, it gave me hope.
Thank you. That's very nice.
I know.
That's very
So
nice. I
thank you
appreciate
for
that.
showing up.
Thank you. And yeah, I try not to put any energy in that. I learned this later in life. But the cool thing is you're learning it in your 20s.
Yeah.
And I mean, imagine what it's going to look like in 20 years. And there's a young lady that's renting space. I've got a co-working space in Kempsville and renting from me now. And I don't know, she's like 24. And you can see she's like all of us. She's healing. And I looked at her and said, hey, you're learning this stuff at 24. I learned it at 50. You got light years ahead of me. And she's super gifted. And she moved into her office, and I said, I see some work there that needs to be done energetically. And so I did a little healing session in her office, in my office in Kempsville, right? And it was cool because when I did my prayers are, I recognize the 4 directions, Mother Earth, my open heart, and I pray to Jesus Christ and I accept him in my life. I ask the beings, and here they come, the beings of the highest light, the angels of the highest light that need to be there to come in. And as I'm doing that, a lot of times I'll get messages from the directions on the person on the table. And I can tell you there's nothing more frightening sometimes when the 4 directions tell you that the person on the table has a demon inside of them. I'm like, really? Fucking A, man. But the messages for this young lady were she's super, super gifted. And there's some stuff in the family line that has bypassed her and her child. And they're telling me that. They're telling me that this illness is not going to touch these two because they're there to break generational curses and do this stuff. And she's learning some other healing modalities and some other stuff. And so I told her that at the end. And I like to tell people who they are because we tell ourselves who we are, and that's usually not a good thing. Right. And so it was fun. It was fun. And the validation, she said, I was worried. I said, I feel like this illness has bypassed us too, the two of us, but you're the 3rd person that has told me that is not going to be in our life. I said, no, that mental illness is not going to be in your life. It has bypassed you guys. And what a beautiful thing that is. You know.
Well, I think it's that story that we all come from somewhere, and we carry things from our ancestors and their ancestors, and half the time we don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and you feel that uncomfortable in your skin, and you're like, what is happening? And
I remember when I was new doing healing work, I had this lady show up, and she is very gifted. And long story short, in a past life, she was in the American Indian War and she killed this the granddaughter of a medicine woman, and she got cursed for it. And so I'm sitting here, I'm seeing all this shit, and I'm like, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to go to the beach and create a sacred circle and open up the energy and do all this. And I'm telling her, like, yeah, now she's going to bake a cake. And she's like, dude, I don't know how to fucking do any of that. I'm like, I'll go with you. So I meet this lady at the beach at 67th Street that I don't know, and her husband's really cool. And he's like, okay, well, have fun. So I create this sacred circle with tobacco and stuff, and she gets in it, and we open up the energy, and I'm seeing all these Native American people coming in. There's like this stadium, right? And me and her at the foot of it. And this grandmother I have comes in and she goes, I'm like, oh, hi, grandmother. And she's like, you have to be careful. And she's like, no, this is a big deal, Wes. It was one of those things. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. You know me, I'm new at this. I'm like opening realms and let's see what happens.
Oh gosh.
And this medicine woman came in her regalia, but she had no face. And when this lady was at my office, I had reached into my heart and pulled out a white feather and handed it to this medicine woman as good faith. Well, I feel like what happened is I brought myself into the curse because after that, I seen her following me everywhere. And I mean, literally her face was like 4 foot tall. I'm like, why are you here?
It's always the short one.
Yeah, right. And no, that was the size of her face.
Oh.
It was that big. It was like right there. And I'm like, well, maybe I should not do that next time. I'm talking to this woman. We're sitting on the beach and people where I thought were nuts. And this medicine woman and saying, hey, you know, this is a different life. She didn't mean to do these things, blah, blah, blah. And she's, I'm not going to release either one of you. You're both mine. Well, there's an entity called White Buffalo Calf Woman, right? And I've heard Lakota talk about her, but I've never experienced her. And well, she came in and it's one of those, you just know who it is. I mean, I'm just sobbing. I'm beside myself being humbled. And I'm sitting there, and in this scenario, we're both kind of on our knees in front of all these entities, and it's almost like a trial type thing. I recognize her, and I thank her for coming, and I'm like, just thank you. And it was trippy. She goes over and whispers in the ear of the medicine woman, and all of a sudden, the medicine woman hands me the feather back, and so. I don't know what was said, but basically she said, you're going to get on board with this and type deal. So the deal was that she has to honor the medicine woman in prayer every single day for the rest of her life. Right. And so this lady agrees to it. And when she did, the medicine woman's regalia went away and she just basically had Native American clothes on. You can see her smile on her face, and she grabs her granddaughter and walks off into this field, and all the other people just disappear. And so you can see these two walking away. It was really beautiful. And so I opened my eyes, and when I look over at my client, all this black smoke is coming off of her. I mean, you could clearly see the black smoke of the curse being lifted. And so many things have changed from her since then. And I'm like, hey, this is the deal. And she's like, what in the holy fuck just happened? And I'm like, it'll be fine. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was great. And she came in like 6 months later, I seen her, and the medicine woman came in and was pissed. I said, you're not doing your prayers. You're not honoring her, are you? She said, oh, I was busy and I forgot. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? This is both of us. So she does it now. She does it now.
It's interesting. The whole time you were telling me that story, I just kept thinking, how would you tell somebody who has never had work like this done, so Reiki or whatever it is, how would you get them to have that belief? Because I feel like in order to truly heal, you have to believe that in your heart. So what would you tell somebody who would be completely closed off to that, or would...
You know, I don't necessarily know if you have to believe anything at all.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Everything I told her, she resonated with. So there was that. She felt like there was a curse. She even said, I feel like I'm cursed. And I've had many clients come and they were cursed. So when I'm doing my prayers and I'm doing stuff, I'll hear the word cursed, 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 and sometimes they'll show it to me. Sometimes entities will show up. I just know, right? Um, and the reason I say you don't necessarily have to believe, because I've worked on people long distance that didn't know I was doing the work, and things changed because the family members asked me to do it. So I connected and asked their higher self, and the higher self said, yes, you can. So I did the work. Now, there's some old school people that will say that that's not appropriate, that you have to verbally get it from them. But in my mind, if I'm asking their higher self, their soul, and I'm given permission, Margaret says that's okay, and I go with that. And it feels right too. There's been instances where it didn't feel right, so I didn't do it, or I was told no and I didn't do it. It happened 2 days ago. I was told no. And this was one where the lady wanted me to do the work, and her higher self stepped in and said no. And I said, look, you need to do some things. We talked about that. It will be okay in a few days for me to do the work. So, I mean, it's nice to believe, it's nice to feel those things, but I don't necessarily know if they have to. If it's really a big issue for them, they're not going to be there anyways.
That's a good point.
I have people come all the time and they whisper, I'm a Christian. I'm like, yeah, so am I. I'm an ordained minister, not a good one, but yeah, I cuss a little bit too much.
I was going to say, I feel like two things can coexist. Like Jesus did the hands-on healing and had oils and frankincense and myrrh and...
Yeah, well, that's where Reiki comes from. Master Sui wanted to know how Jesus Christ healed people. He went on a pilgrimage and he came back and he said Jesus showed him, and he created and taught Reiki. That's where it comes from. You go to church and they pray over you and touch you, and the organized religion wants to say theirs is right and ours is wrong. The only difference, in my opinion, is this is the Japanese version. That's the white guy's version. So you're saying the Japanese isn't as good as the white guys? I don't know. I don't know how to pray to God and have the devil show up. So to me, that doesn't work. And if you guys hear that, that's my neighbor cutting the grass, while we're trying to do the podcast. But that's all right. We got World War III going on outside.
World War III, tap, tap, tap.
Tap, tap, tap.
Grass.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about healing and stuff. But I don't know. It's been... This episode's coming out about a week late. Just had a lot going on. I just needed to process some things, and I don't like to record if it doesn't feel right. And so I am working very hard to make sure that my episodes come out on Saturdays. And I would say if something resonates with you on this, and there's somebody in your life that needs to hear the message, send it to them. Help us do things differently. Go on and give us a 5-star review. Some of the programs that distribute this, you can go in and actually type something up. If you want to connect with us through Instagram, is VB Healer, Virginia Beach Healer, or my healing website is vbhealer.com, virginiabeachhealer.com, if you want some healing work. And Kelsey, it's been fun having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited and ready to hear you say that you're ready to do sound bowl healings and stuff professionally, so we can start putting that out.
Yeah. No, I think it's coming up the pipeline pretty soon.
Yeah. We can put your phone number out to 139 countries right now if you want to tell everybody that.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Nothing can go wrong with that.
What could go wrong? And we're like in 139 countries. Isn't that beautiful? So, I don't know. It's been fun. And, we've got some really cool guests getting ready to come on board here soon. And I think it's going to be fun. So any last words, Kelsey?
I think that what I would like to say is just remain in your authenticity. Ask yourself every morning, how can I be authentic? And how can I show up and be love and embody that?
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the show. And remember, you're one vibrational shift away from being the person you want to be. And we're looking forward to hearing that and seeing that. So y'all have a great week. I'll see you soon. Say bye, Kelsey.
Bye.